Hello peeps, welcome back to Hearthstone. This is Matt Sparks, and today we're going to go over the very recent, in fact it happened today, patch notes. I'm hoping to get this video out today so that you can find out all that's going on. Okay, so from the very start we can see that the UI has had a little bit of an overhaul. You can see already that it looks different, like the colours are different, the shop icon looks different to me. And yeah, I kind of like it. If we go into the menu, that's pretty much the same, I think, as it was before, except for this. Enable challenging nearby players' friends list. So you can have that ticked or unticked. I shall go over that shortly. First thing I want to show you is the quest log. Now, you can see that this has changed slightly. And you'll also see these little X's in the top right hand corner of the 3 quests that I have in my quest log currently. Now this means that you can, each day, you can abandon one quest and be given another quest in its place. So say for example, like for here, Druid or Rogue Dominance. We're in 5 games with a Druid or Rogue. Say for example you don't have any Druid or Rogue decks, and maybe you don't want to build a Druid or Rogue deck, or perhaps you don't have any room. Maybe you've got 9 decks built that you really like and you want to keep, and you don't have room for another a Druid or a Rogue deck. You can. We're gonna, for the sake of this video, let's do it. There we go. We got rid of it, and now I've got a Shaman or Warlock victory instead. So the problem is that obviously I've lost out on the opportunity to get 20 more gold, but I might prefer having Shaman or Warlock instead of the previous Druid or Rogue. So that's pretty cool. That's a nice way of doing things. As you may have noticed, this has changed as well. So I believe that the whole ranking system has changed. Let's go and have a look, shall we? Yes, here we go, look. This has already changed. So play ranked, and this is unranked, which is just classed as casual now rather than unranked. Or you can play ranked. So that's an interesting way of doing things. I quite like that, and it's a bit more obvious as to whether you're playing ranked or unranked, rather than just having a little symbol up in the corner. So that's pretty cool. I like that. I like that change. As far as I'm aware, the shop is still the same. Let's buy a pack just to make sure that everything is as it was before. This looks different, or is it just me? I think this looks different. Maybe not. Okay, so that looks like it's all pretty much the same. Okay, so what next? Well, it should display a last person you played against, provided they're not a real ID or battle tag friend. So provided they're a complete stranger, they will show up in your friends list that you've had so if you had a good match against someone, you can add them to your friends list and maybe have some more matches with that particular person, which is kind of cool. It makes Hearthstone a little bit more social, because that was one of the things that it was lacking. I think it was the fact that it wasn't very social, even though it's kind of, we're playing against other people. So yeah, you can opt in to see other Hearthstone players near you, so you can play against, and that will appear in the friends list. So let's try that, shall we? If we go into the options, enable challenging nearby players, and then we'll go into see if there's anything in here. There's nothing in here. Well, that's that's not the best demonstration of that in the world. Maybe there's just no one online at the moment. There's a possibility. Alright, let's so that's not great, but there are parental controls now, so you can disable in-game shop purchases, which is kind of cool. you can have the game running in the background. So at the moment I've got it running in the background. I'm actually on a different screen, but the music's still there, which is kind of cool. And the amount of gold you win, or you can gain from winning games in play mode, is now capped at 100. So that's just from the winning of the games. That doesn't include any of the quests, because apparently there was people were using methods of gold acquisition that violate the terms of service. So basically, a few people were ruining it for everyone else, which is what's usually the case within these sorts of situations. Okay, so as we can tell from what we've seen already, the ranking system has completely changed. I don't know if I can... So I'm currently at the Angry Chicken rank, and my next rank is a Leper Gnome. I'm not quite sure if that's a step up or step down, but... So the seasons now last for a month, and reset at the end of each month. New ranks and minion portraits for all levels of play. You can earn a star for each win and lose one for each loss, and your stars determine your rank. Players who get top rank of Legend are in the top 10,000 players, have their exact region-wide ranking displayed. There will be rewards for playing ranked mode in the future, but they are not implemented within this patch and will be added at a future date. So that's the ranking changes. The arena changes are very small. The rewards have been restructured, and the total number of matches you can win has gone from 9 to 12. So that's kind of cool. I've got some cards that I've unlocked, which is kind of cool. Let's just go into crafting mode. Let's disenchant this. This all seems to be pretty much the same as it was. I still have a card. Wonder what it is. Oh, is it one from the pack I just opened? I really wasn't paying attention. Oh no, it's my Elite Tauren Chieftain. There we go. That's my Elite Tauren Chieftain from the BlizzCon virtual ticket. Awesome. Cool. Alright, so all golden cards are now animated. There were a few golden cards, like the Fen Creeper, that weren't really animated very well. And now it is. I'm not sure if I had any of the others that weren't animated. Can I just show any gold cards? Okay. I haven't got a huge amount of gold cards. I'm pretty sure the ones that I had all had animations already. I'm not sure the Spellbreaker had an animation. So that's cool. But all of them have animations now. So that's pretty cool. They've finally got around to doing that. And some visual effects from some of the cards have been improved. So King Crush, which I believe is a hunter. Yeah, King Crush. He now has a specific animation for when he gets placed on the board, as does some of the other ones like Ysera and Alakir and some of the other high-cost legendary cards. Okay, while we're on the hunter deck, we're going to take a look at some of the changes that's happened to the hunters' specific classes cards. So as you can see, first off, Starving Buzzard has had a health removed. It was a 2-2 and is now a 2-1. That was changed because at some ranks the hunter deck was too strong against mages, druids and rogues. So this has been changed to try and even it out a bit. The main change is this one. For each enemy minion, summon a 1/1 hound with charge. So this is completely changed from what it was before. It used to be a 1-cost card, and it used to give all your beasts +1 attack and charge. Now this was because of the 1-turn kill deck that had been going around with the hunters, which was don't think there was any legitimate way to counter that deck. The only way you could do it would be to kill the hunter before like turn 7, I think, or turn 8, which is usually when they put all their really low cost beasts onto the board, and then you use Unleash the Hounds and just kill you in one turn, whilst using their removal in the previous turns to get rid of any minions you had on the board. So the only way I think you could have countered it is maybe if you were playing like a shaman, and you managed to get like a bit of a swarm of like cards out on the board, and maybe use a Bloodlust and kill them off really early. But you would literally have to kill them within like 5 or 6 turns, otherwise it would be over. So if you had like a slow start, the 1-turn kill hunter deck would just own you every time. So it needed nerfing because it was a little bit overpowered. Well, I say a little bit, it was incredibly overpowered. I don't think I won a single game against a hunter deck that was playing that particular deck, because there was no real counter to it. It's not like you could go, oh well, I'll just put a taunt up, because then they'll just use something like Deadly Shot and get rid of it, or Kill Command, or Multi-Shot, or Explosive Shot. You know, it's like, or if they weren't using that, then they might be using Explosive Trap or Snipe, or you know, anything they could be using to get rid of it, any of your minions on the field. So no matter what you did, they would always have board control. Well, not always, but most of the time they'd have board control. And yeah, and it was just a really, really strong deck, to the point where it was too strong and it needed to change. So that's the hunter deck. One of the other big changes is to the priest deck. Most of it has stayed the same. I think there was a problem with Master Spell, but I think that's been fixed. So this is the main change, is that Mind Control is now a 10 cost card and not an 8 cost card. So you've got a little bit more time to... You don't have to get to turn 8 and go, well, I can't play any big creatures. Just in case. Which is what happened a lot of the time when you're playing against priests, is you have to try and get... You basically couldn't play any big cards. Because, I mean, especially if you had something like Ragnaros. If you put Ragnaros out, the priest takes 8 damage, then Mind Controls the Ragnaros, and then you take 8 damage, plus anything else that he's got on the field. And it's like... Great. So your turn was essentially wasted. You know, or any other card for that matter. Any other card. If it was a high cost Ironbark Protector, if you were playing a Druid, you stick an Ironbark Protector out there, and then the next turn it's now the Priest's Ironbark Protector, and you're completely screwed. I've seen that happen so many times. I mean, I've done it. I've played as a priest and done it, and I've played against priests that have done it. And you're like, yes, I've got this big card. I'm going to have to risk putting it out because I don't have any other cards or many other cards I can put out. It happens all the time. So, yeah, I think that was a necessary change. The priest deck was pretty strong anyway, and I don't think this is going to make a huge amount of difference. But it'll mean that other classes have a bit of a shot late game before they've got like an extra 2 turns maybe before they get completely screwed over by the Mind Control card. Okay, and there's one other change. It's not a huge change particularly, but the Flame Imp now deals 3 damage instead of 2 damage. It's not a huge change particularly, but it makes it... I mean, it was a really strong card for turn 1, so an extra damage, 1 damage, I don't think it's going to make that much difference. Let's have a look at some of the neutral cards quickly. As you can see here, Argent Commander has been changed as well, from a 4-3 to a 4-2. this was one of the strongest cards in the game as far as I'm concerned, and I could see why maybe they've take. I mean, it's got charge and divine shield, so I can see maybe why they wanted to nerf it. It's a shame because it was a really good card, but I'm not particularly happy about that. But it was pretty much one of those cards that was in everyone's deck if they wanted to be fairly competitive. Okay, let's have a look at what else has changed. Where is it? 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 There it is. Shattered Sun Cleric. This has been nerfed ever so slightly. It's been reduced to a 2 health card instead of 3 health, which is a shame because it had a lot more survivability as a 3/3. I think I would have preferred it if it had been a 2/3 instead of a 3/2, and still had that survivability. I think that would have been a better change, personally. But it's still got the battle cry of giving a friendly minion 1/1. So it's still a fairly strong card. But as I say, I think I would have preferred it have been a 2 attack and 3 health and kept that survivability. I'm not quite sure why they decided to make it a 3/2. Maybe they didn't want it to have quite as much survivability. But there you go. So that's the main changes to the cards. Obviously, if you bought a virtual ticket to watch BlizzCon, or you attended BlizzCon in person, you'll have your Elite Tauren Chieftain Golden Legendary card. This is the first time I've played since the patch went live, so I haven't actually had a chance to play this card yet. But I will certainly give that a try and see how it works. From what I'm aware, there are 3 different power chord cards that do different things. And you get one and your opponent gets one, so it's a little bit RNG as far as like the effects that you're basically giving your opponent a card to do something with, which could be quite dangerous in some situations, especially if he's got like a mana addict or questing adventurer or something. So you might want to be a bit careful when playing it, but it's a bit of fun. I don't think it's going to give anyone an advantage particularly. I mean, it's a 5/5 for 5, so it's alright card anyway, but yeah. I don't think anyone that didn't go to BlizzCon is going to be too bothered about whether they get it or not, because it gives a player, the opposing player, a card as well. So even if you're playing against someone who has this card and you don't, you're still going to get a benefit from it being placed on the board, because you're still going to get one of the power chord cards. The chat UI has received some new improvements. I don't have anyone online to be able to show you that, unfortunately. And your player rank icon and number is now visible in the friends list. Print screen key now takes a screenshot and saves it to your desktop. And oh yeah, the art has been updated for the box and pack opening screens, which we've seen already. So yeah, apart from that, it's mainly just bug fixes. So I shall put a link in the description to the patch notes on the forum, so you can go and check that out and check any bug fixes. The main one that I've noticed is that they've apparently fixed when a card gets put back in your hand, say from like sap from a rogue, or what were they called? The panda cards. I forget what they're called. Where is it? Where is it? There we go. Youthful Brewmaster. Yes, this return a friendly minion from the battlefield to your hand. That animation has been fixed now, so that you don't just get a floaty card just floating in the middle of the board. I think hopefully that they've fixed. Sometimes you used to get overlapping cards in your hand that you couldn't use properly and stuff like that. So yeah, so hopefully, with any luck, this should play a little bit better. I'm going to play some ranked and see how that goes, and I shall report back and let you know how it's all working out. So there we go. As I say, I'll put the patch notes in a link in the description, and have fun playing the new and improved version of Hearthstone. And I shall speak to you again soon. Thanks very much for watching, and I shall see you next time. Bye bye.